Cain Country begins in 1 minute.
One, Merry Christmas. Open your Christmas presents early. We've got a beautiful one under the tree. Jasmine Crockett for Senate. 2, Luigi Mangione. Could this be the modern day OJ? A case decided not by the evidence, not by the law, but a case decided by the culture of America. 3, afraid to make a phone call. Telephobia afflicting Gen Z. And Tinfoil Pat goes to Manhattan. It is Will Cain Country, streaming live at the Will Cain Country YouTube channel on this Tuesday. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. We have a wonderful present, all of us, to open today under the Christmas tree. We also have a fascinating discussion about whether or not Luigi Mangione is O.J. Simpson. Let's get into all of it with story number 1. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett has filed the paperwork. It's an early Christmas. She is running for senator from the Lone Star State. Texas Senator Jasmine Crockett. It just rolls off the tongue. You see what we've been missing quite clearly. What we have been missing at a large national platform. What we've been missing in America, according to Jasmine Crockett yesterday in her press conference announcing her senatorial bid, is what we have been missing is Jazzy. Watch.
Of us, especially in this moment. There are a lot of people that said, you got to stay in the house. We need our voice. We need you there. And I understand. But what we need is for me to have a bigger voice. What we need is not only a voice, but we need to make sure that we are going to stop all the hell.
What we need, you see, is me. We are totally living in the age of narcissism. It is perhaps even greater than attention, because attention is a downstream currency from the never-ending empty bucket that is narcissism. And I don't think it's just Jasmine Crockett that is screaming out into the void. What we need is more of me. I think it's happening all across the podcast sphere, what we're seeing with influencers. And I'm not just talking about the left, I'm talking about on the right. We have a never-ending, unfillable bucket of narcissism. Tinfoil Pat, 2-a-days Dan, hanging out with us here as well today on Will Cain Country. This, make no mistake, fellas, is a gift. This is a gift. And I, for one, raise my hand. I am rooting for Jasmine Crockett. Get mad, yell at me, tell me I'm being sarcastic. I'm being honest. I am rooting for Jasmine Crockett to be clear, to be the Democrat nominee for Senate. The choice right now in Texas is crazy Jazzy or fraud liar James Tallarico.
What a choice.
James Tallarico, of course, a state representative who's a favorite here of Will Cain Country, that is a noted lying fraud pawned off on us as a sincere, moderate seminarian. And I, for one, will take crazy over fraud any and every day of the week. Now, make no mistake as well. This is a gift to you. To you, Dan, to you, Pat, to me, and to you listening to Will Cain Country. Because simply from a selfish standpoint, as content creators and even content consumers, we all know what a gift it is to have Jasmine Crockett. We know how great it is. The clips, the moments, the street slang, the dumbing down of American politics. It's quite honestly, if we're being totally truthful, a lot of fun. I mean, how much would you rather have clips of Jasmine Crockett or the faux sincerity of James Tallarico? Which one actually gets you excited that day to wake up and put on your Christmas PJs and run up under the tree? You and I both know it's jazzy. It's because you get other moments like this, like the way to do the unthinkable, to open the mystery door with the skeleton key that everyone's been missing. How do you turn Texas blue? Well, the answer is the skeleton key that you reach for. It is, watch and listen here, JC.
Turning Texas blue is what I want to talk to y'all about today. Now, there are those that say, ain't no way, we done tried it 50 kinds of ways. Let me be clear, y'all ain't never tried it the JC way. We used to telling us what I can't do, but they have no idea what Crockett's crew will do. And so I just want to be clear, for all the haters in the back, listen up real loud. We gonna get this thing done.
Tell me your spine doesn't tingle. Tell me your eyes don't sparkle. The wrapping paper is wadded up in the corner of the room. You are ready to play with your new Jasmine Crockett toy. This is exciting. Ain't no way we done tried 50 times a way, but you never tried the JC way to turn Texas blue. It's great. It's so good. It's wonderful. Versus the very calculated and manufactured plastic, cheap from China play toy that is, and breaks and loses an arm within its first 30 seconds, the toy that is James Tallarico. Yesterday when I talked about this wonderful news of Jasmine Crockett launching her bid for Senate, what happened but Team Tallarico, the bots, the farms, the coordinated campaign for James Tallarico immediately reposted now his, 4, 5, 6-month-old video on the Will Cain Show, destroying a Fox News host. Why? Because they're watching the Will Cain Show. They're upset that I have branded him the fraud and the liar that he is. Hey, James, how's Honky Tonk Angel doing? Can we get an update? Are we still trying to book Honky Tonk Angel? Honky Tonk Angel, the
Patrick slid into the DMs.
OnlyFans.
I never thought I would slide into the DMs of a porn star, but I did. No response. So
Tough luck.
Well, maybe you need to buy the OnlyFans account. Honky Tonk Angel, the escort OnlyFans.
I'll put it on the company card.
Star. Perfectly
work,
accessible Instagram hottie who may not be responding because she realizes she's not the true love of James Tallarico because he spreads his love around on social media. He's been liking multiple escorts and OnlyFans stars or bringing back progressive Christianity. So maybe she's a little ego butthurt that she's not the only love of Representative Tallarico. But we still need to slide into the DMs. You might need to pay for an OnlyFans subscription because we have to get in touch with Honky Tonk Angel. But the arm fell off that toy. It's not fun. It's not like Jasmine Crockett. If Jasmine Crockett is C-team, he's E-team. He's cheap, obvious, hypocritical, fraudulent politics. We have to get billionaires out of politics. How much have you taken from billionaires, James, in Texas? We know the answer. It's on the FEC filings. We know the answer is you take money from billionaires while saying that you want to get money and billionaires out of politics. No. You're nothing. You're nothing like C-Team Jazzy. And I want to open up this forum. This is an open forum. She is welcome here. I can't even promise that I'm not going to be mean. I can't promise a cross-examination. I more want to examine Jasmine Crockett like an anthropologist. I want to know what makes her tick. I want to find out who is her constituency. I want to find the Jasmine Crockett supporters. And if we can't get Jazzy on the program, which you have an open invitation to an environment here that thinks you should be the Democrat nominee for Senate, because if nothing else, you have a level of honesty. I can't go as far as say authenticity, because I know that the accent is fake, and I know the whole thing is a bit, but at least you have a level of honesty about your insanity. And that in and of itself makes you more appealing to me. So if not you, a surrogate. If not a surrogate, a constituent. If not a constituent, a fan. James Tallarico is on OnlyFans. You have real fans, Jazzy. I would recognize that. I don't know if they number more than a baker's dozen, but you have real fans. He's a fan of OnlyFans and Honky Tonk Angel. So you have a forum here on Will Cain Country. Now, I don't know about your ability to measure your fans, baker's dozen, 20, because I don't really have a lot of trust in your ability to measure or do math or numbers, because I don't yet see how you win a general election. You know, how do you beat John Cornyn? How do you beat Ken Paxton? How do you beat Wesley Hunt? In a general election, how do you beat a Republican for senator from Texas? Because you right now seem to be in the process of subtraction, not addition, and you don't recognize the need in politics for addition. Here she is saying she doesn't need anybody who ever voted for Donald Trump.
He has inserted himself at every turn when it comes to your commentary. How will you convert those who are supportive of him to voters for you?
Yeah, I don't know that we'll necessarily convert all of Trump's supporters. That's not our goal.
Do you need to?
Our goal is to definitely talk to people. No, we don't. We don't need to. Our goal is to make sure that we can engage people that historically have not been talked to.
So she doesn't need anybody that voted for Donald Trump. So let's figure out the math, like how many people out there just simply don't vote, who aren't interested in politics. And Jasmine Crockett, like perhaps Donald Trump in 2016, can turn those passive political watchers into passionate voters for Jasmine Crockett. It's going to be a wild ride. It's going to be a fun ride. And it is an incredible gift. It's an incredible gift to us all. Jasmine Crockett is running for senator from Texas. Merry Christmas. Could Luigi Mangione be the modern-day O.J. Simpson, a trial not predicated on the evidence, not decided by the law, but one decided by a movement, by the culture? Could Luigi Mangione be O.J. Simpson? We discuss that with a criminal defense attorney, Donna Rotunno, when we come back on Will Cain Country. Hey, you've heard me talk about Buffalo Jackson over the last couple of weeks because they make vintage outdoor leather jackets, flannels, wallets. It's a Western rugged brand that actually feels like the real thing. And look, it's really cold all across the country this week. Most of us are freezing. And so what if you gave yourself an upgrade this year? How about a new outdoor leather jacket? Maybe it's the Shearling Bomber, or one of those puffy leather jackets like the one that I wear. I'm telling you, this stuff, it's the real deal. Think of it as an investment as well, an investment for your closet, something that you're going to wear for years and maybe even a decade. It's timeless. It's classic. Because the gear's been featured in things like Yellowstone, country music artists, even folks around Fox have it on. Here's what I know. When you wear a good jacket, a really good jacket, well, then you get compliments. People notice. They say, hey, nice jacket. When's the last time you heard that? Why not get yourself a gift this Christmas from Buffalo Jackson? Buffalo Jackson, it makes leather bags, wallets, and those jackets built to roam. Check them out at buffalojackson.com. And right now, use the code WILL10, WILL10 for 10% off. Luigi Mangione, modern day OJ, when we come back on Will Cain Country.
Every hour of every day, Fox News Radio is there with the latest breaking news and information you rely on.
This is a Fox News alert.
I'm Lisa Brady.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
With Fox News correspondents around the globe.
At the White House, Simon Owen in London.
On Capitol Hill, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The news that matters most to you. The top headlines, all in one place. Listen and follow the Fox News Hourly Update at foxnewspodcasts.com or ask your smart speaker to play Fox News.
Hello, everyone. This is Ainsley Earhart. Thank you for joining me for the 52-episode podcast series, The Life of Jesus.
Neil McDonough portrays Jesus. Stacey Keach, Sean Astin, Michael York, and Kristen Bell provide the voices for some of Jesus' notable followers. A listening experience that will provide hope, comfort, and understanding of the greatest story ever told, The Life of Jesus.
Make sure to spread the word.
Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. Stay on top of the latest forecast with America's Weather Team in the palm of your hands.
Here's the latest from America's Weather Center.
It's Fox weather updates throughout your busy day, every day.
That heat's going to be out there for one more day.
Temperatures being 30 degrees above average.
Put the power of over 100 meteorologists and the worldwide resources of Fox in your hands with the Fox Weather Podcast. Precise, personal, powerful. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com.
O.J. Made in America documentary by ESPN featured an interview with a juror, a black juror, that said it didn't matter what the evidence said. This was our chance. This was our chance to get back. It was a verdict not on the evidence, but a verdict on the culture. It is Will Cain Country, streaming live at the Will Cain Country YouTube channel, the Will Cain Facebook page, the Fox News Facebook page, but you can always follow us on Spotify or on Apple. While not racial, Luigi Mangione, the alleged murderer of healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, has certainly turned into a movement, a cultural movement, with fans of Luigi Mangione online and in real life who have turned him into a sex symbol, turned him into a modern-day Robin Hood, a justice seeker. To that, by the way, Brian Thompson's colleague tells the New York Post, Luigi Mangione's ghoulish fans utterly disgust me, says colleague of victim Brian Thompson. That right there shows you that what we are witnessing is something more than a legal trial. And it makes you wonder if you'll get a verdict that is something more than the evidence and something more than the facts. The question is, how widespread is that movement, that culture, and how much can it impact the trial of Luigi Mangione? Donna Rotunno is a criminal defense attorney, and she joins us now in Will Cain Country. And Donna, do I have this correctly? And I think this is apropos to the conversation. You represented Harvey Weinstein.
Correct, I did.
So you would know something about this concept, this idea that I'm considering that Luigi Mangione could turn into a modern-day OJ. And what I mean by that is the following. While I am not certainly well-versed enough on the facts and the evidence in Harvey Weinstein's trial, I don't think there's any denying that Harvey Weinstein was part of a larger cultural movement. It was the Me Too movement. And it engulfed a lot of people, comedians that got canceled, people that got prosecuted. You have seen firsthand the impact of something that goes far beyond evidence and far beyond the facts. Now, whether or not that actually played a role in Harvey Weinstein's case, the reason I mention all this up front for you is you've had a front row seat of being a part of one of these movements and these cultural waves and the way that it can impact a trial. The one that I've invoked today is infamously of the 1990s. That's the O.J. Simpson trial. And there's just no debating it. Everybody knows O.J. wasn't about the evidence. O.J. wasn't about the facts. We've now seen a multitude of documentaries. The best, I think, is O.J. Made in America. And they have interviews with the jurors. And the jurors cared nothing about the facts. What they were saying was this was a chance for racial redemption, racial revenge. And I'm curious, with that and with your experience amidst the Me Too movement, and we'll get into some of the facts with the motions to dismiss evidence and so forth in a moment, but what do you think the likelihood is that this Luigi Mangione thing simply isn't a legal trial? It's just a cultural trial.
I think there's an absolute likelihood of that happening. And I think you're right. Very, very true in Weinstein, but really to the opposite fact, right? Like you had so many people, like you're watching in the same building. The building we're watching Luigi go to court in is the same one that I went to court in every day with Harvey Weinstein at 100 Center Street. And when you walk into the building, you could hear the flash mobs outside against Harvey Weinstein, right? So it was this whole Me Too movement. So you are not only fighting against the evidence in a courtroom, but you are fighting against what's happening outside. And at the end of the day, of course, the only thing that matters is what those 12 jurors think. But the 12 jurors are absolutely influenced about what's going on. And in the Weinstein trial, could you imagine being a juror and going home and saying to your wife, your mother, your aunt, your cousin, your niece, your daughter, I'm the person who found Harvey Weinstein not guilty? I mean, the movement was so strong that you were shunned if you talked against it. Trust me, I know I'm the one that got the death threats. So, that does happen. So I'm absolutely concerned about that here, but I'm concerned about it for the prosecutors, not the defense, because here you get one rogue juror, right? You get one rogue juror that says, I don't care what, I know he did it. I don't care that he did it. I think he was justified in doing it, even though there's no legal justification for it. But that's what we're going to see. And I mean, you see it outside the courtroom. When you hear those people in the streets cheering on Mangione, is one of them saying, I don't think he did it? I think they got the wrong guy? No, they're not saying that. They're talking about the fact that he was justified to do what he did, and they'll die on that hill, and that it was okay that he acted that way. So I think you're absolutely right. And if I'm the prosecutor, my biggest concern about the case is exactly what you led off with.
Okay, I want to dig into that for a moment, Donna. Yeah. So this weekend, I watched the Sean Diddy Combs documentary, executively produced by 50 Cent. So I do think that's interesting that 50 Cent produced it. I watched the entire 4 episodes, so 4 hours, with, I think, a healthy level of skepticism, meaning I understood I was getting one side of the story. Sure. But one of the things you come away with that is it's very similar. Crowds outside the courtroom, in this case, in support of Diddy. Now, I think there's a separate conversation that I'm not interested in right now, which is, did the prosecutors overcharge Diddy, and did that lead to where we got to today? But the point is, I'm visually seeing what you saw, what we've all seen, these crowds outside the courtroom. What's happening on social media? There are clips in that documentary of Diddy talking about that. He's like, you're not winning Instagram. You're not winning TikTok. Talking to his attorneys. He's like, you need to hire the best in PR because we've got to win these things. Yeah, you saw that as well. Yeah, but back to your experience, okay? So I want to take this in parts. The part I want to take first is the trial has started. The jury has been impaneled. All of that is swirling around the jury, literally and physically outside and online. In that documentary that you watched as well about Combs, they talked about that the jury wasn't sequestered. So I'm curious, is your concern there, or the thing that can make Mangione OJ, is that those 12 people sit there every day? They got to walk in and out of the courthouse. They're probably taking a bus underground. They're not going through those crowds. But they're going home. They're watching the news. More importantly, they're probably scrolling TikTok and Instagram. How does the pressure, I'm asking about once the jury is impaneled, how does the cultural movement affect them? You gave a great example, turning to a family member going, I'm the guy that didn't convict Harvey Weinstein. Put that into this Mangione scenario for me.
Sure. And I think that we have to remember, and Weinstein was 2019, 2020, trial started at the beginning of 2020. The social media influence just gets greater by the year. So that was probably one of the first trials where social media played an impact. But now, move forward to 2025, 2026, the social media boom is so much bigger now even than it was then. So I think it is a concern, not only for what people are seeing. And the judge is going to tell these jurors when they go home at night, They're not supposed to consume any media. They shouldn't read anything about the case. But how realistic is that, right? Unless you take away every tablet, then every device someone has. I mean, how realistic is that? You're going home, you're with your kids, your family. They're talking to you about it, even though they're not supposed to, they are. So I think when you look at it, you have to say, not only are they going to be looking at their feeds, but their feeds are tailored to what they already believe. So, you follow what you follow, right? Like I guarantee you and I follow a lot of the same things. But if we went over to MSNBC or CNN, they may be following some different things and they may be getting some different news. But that's true for everybody, right? You're targeted. I like fashion. And so when I get on my Instagram, right, that's what I see. So if you're somebody who is part of a resistance, or if you don't, like healthcare, or if you've been vocal about that's what's going to be fed to you. So
interesting, Donna.
Yes,
you're a juror.
Yes.
You're a juror in this case. It isn't what's viral anymore. That's not what matters. It's not who, quote unquote, wins social media. That's not the way you win social media anymore. There's not like my shit is better than somebody else's shit, so it went viral and therefore everybody's going to see it. You're now talking about jurors, and my phone is listening to me. It's listening to me, right? Correct. Presumably not in the courtroom and presumably not in the deliberation room, but it is listening to me in my car, on the way home, in my conversations with my family. I know I'm not supposed to be talking about the case, but let's get real. We're all human beings. So my phone is listening to me. Then I open up all these feeds, X, TikTok, and it's algorithmically consuming what I'm consuming and then regurgitating shit back to me that it thinks I want to hear. So if I'm mulling over the idea that Mangione is a hero, I'm going to get an algorithm feeding me people out there saying Mangione's a hero, further pulling a juror down a rabbit hole.
Exactly. And so this is the fear. And picking a jury in these cases, we're all obviously part of the media and we do these things, and the media influence is huge. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is what those 12 people are going to do. And picking a jury in today's day and age is a completely different animal than it was even a decade ago, even 6 years ago. So you have to look at these things. And, I'm sure everyone involved in this case will have jury consultants, and they're going to have to look. And anybody that has public social media, they'll be able to see what they post about and what's on their X and what's on their Instagram, and they're going to have to make decisions. I'll give you an example. During Weinstein, it's actually kind of funny. Gigi Hadid was one of the potential witnesses in Weinstein. And Gigi Hadid, supermodel, mom was supermodel. She comes in claiming that she can be fair to Harvey Weinstein. We took about 3 seconds worth of a look at her Instagram, and you knew that that was absolutely ridiculous. She had posted and posted and posted things about Me Too. But in that courtroom, she said, I can be fair and impartial. And, so you have to look out for these jurors that may potentially be rogue. People that come in, and even though they have unbelievably strong feelings one way or another, they will say that they don't. Why? Because they want to have an influence on what happens. B, they know this is the trial of the century and they can write a book and they stand to make money. And so there's a lot of things that have to go into determining whether or not you can truly get a fair and impartial jury.
Okay, I want to move to some of the, we just had some motions, I believe, to dismiss evidence this week. I want to get into that in just a moment with Mangione. We don't have a trial date set yet, but we're getting ahead of ourselves in that the trial isn't here. We're not going through Vaudire. I think you're from the Northeast, so to be fancy, I'll say it your way, voir dire. We haven't had that yet to figure out. Who the jury's going to be. I make a joke. I'm from Texas, Donna. I did go to law school, so that's a little bit like, sleeping at a Holiday Inn Express. It gives me a little bit of insight into this stuff. But we say Vaudire down here.
Yes.
So for the audience, Vaudire, that's when you're picking a jury. You're cross-examining essentially the jury and who the jury pool to pick, and then you're canceling some jurors and you're accepting other jurors. You're exercising your strikes and so forth. Because the other part of this I wanted to ask you about was not the effect of the culture on the jury once it's impaneled, but picking the jury. Now, my instinct at first in asking you this question was, well, I wonder how popular Luigi Mangione actually is. Like, Does he have a 30% approval rating in the culture? I don't know right now. I don't know. But say I'm the prosecutor. I'm wondering that. I'm wondering, like, I've got a pool. What do you have? To get 12, what are you starting with? You starting with a pool of 50? Like, how many's on your jury panel to start?
I mean, in a
to get
normal
12?
case that has no media presence and no, just a random, yes, we would get 50 to 60 jurors to try to pick 12. In Weinstein, we had, I think, 2,500. So, they're going to have thousands of people.
Gosh.
Yeah, 2,500.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, let's stick with 50 just because it's easier math. Like, I would be sitting there and going, okay, in this 50, I've got to presume there's at least 10 to 15 that, like, literally think Mangione might be a hero. I don't know. I don't know where we are, but I'm going to start there. I'm going to start there, and I'm going to read polling, and I'm going to try, because I want to know what my odds are here of having somebody on this jury that absolutely should not be here. You know what I mean? Yeah. And this isn't the macro perspective, Donna. Like, that's the macro perspective. So, like, I think that's, in impaneling the jury, that's one of the first things you're going to have to do is, like, I have to deal with the fact there's a significant percentage of these people in my pool who wouldn't convict him even if he's legally guilty.
Yeah, for sure. Not only do you have to look at that, but you have to look at the fact that, if it's me, honestly, the way I'm looking at it, I think, is not only am I considering the fact that there's a percentage of people who are just going to sympathize with him, but I'm looking at age, because I think that the older the juror, the better chance for the prosecutor. The younger the juror, the better the chance for Luigi, right? Because you have all of this sort of young people's movement that is part of the resistance. They're the same one. They go from there, like, what is the cause of the week, right? And those are the people that you kind of want to stay away from. It's the same in sex cases. If I'm trying a sexual assault case, I don't want anybody on that jury under the age of, like, 45, if I can help myself. So I think that's the first thing they have to look at is age, because I think that'll help.
I want to... Can we do this? I'm going to walk through a series of questions. This is in voir dire, okay? And I'm going to ask a couple questions. And will you tell me if I can't ask this? Because this is something I would want to do, okay?
Yes.
So you just tell me, can I ask this? Give me the yay or nay. Okay, first question. How many people in here are on TikTok? Please raise your hand. Can I ask that?
Yes.
Okay, how many people are, and then I'm going to do the same thing with X, and I'm going to do the same thing with Instagram, okay? And I'm going to focus on those people now. The next thing I want to ask, this is not, I'm not role-playing now, I'm asking you, Donna. Can they take their phones into voir dire? Can I request that they take their phones into voir dire and have them with them during questioning?
So normally they have to have their phones off, and they have them in a bag or whatever they have with them while they're part of questioning. Once you're selected, your phone is not supposed to be with you. It's supposed to be back in the jury room and off. A judge will allow you to, like, make a phone call to a family member.
I want my jury pool.
Yeah, I don't.
But I want my jury pool to have their phone.
Yeah, I don't think the court's gonna. It depends on what you want them to have it for. I'll reserve my ruling until you tell me why. Okay, I'm gonna tell you.
Okay. I would like everyone here who raised their hand on TikTok to please, let's stick with X because I know X better than TikTok. Everyone who's on X, please open up your X app. Okay? This is what I would ask. And then I would ask, I want you to scroll to the top post regarding Luigi Mangione. And I want to know what it is. I want to reveal what their algorithm is that you and I were just talking about.
Yes.
So in other words, I want to know if somebody's already down the rabbit hole.
Yes.
The algorithm is a mirror in some ways. It's not a completely true mirror, because just because I'm getting content doesn't mean I agree with it or that I like it. It could be just giving you stuff that you gravitate towards. And you can gravitate and read things like, I'll bet you I get a lot of crazy crap. I was just talking about Jasmine Crockett. I'll probably get anything regarding Jasmine Crockett. That doesn't mean I like Jasmine Crockett, right? But I'll get her content. But I want to know who is getting Luigi is a hero content.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to be able to do that. A court is not going to allow you to, for privacy reasons. However, you will have their name. And so if you have jury consultants or lawyers at your table or, law clerks, you can start to look up their media accounts on your own. Now, if they're private, you will not have any
Donna,
access
that's
to it.
only going to show me, that's only going to show me what they post.
Correct.
I don't care
and
what
they follow.
I do care, to your point. I do care what they post.
Yeah.
I want to know But follow doesn't matter anymore, right? It doesn't matter that much. So
Yes,
I
you're
want to
correct.
know their algorithm. The
Yes.
algorithm is the window now into the human soul.
Sure.
And if a jury, you need to know the human soul. I want to know your
Correct.
algorithm.
Yeah, court's not. I don't see a court allowing that to happen for privacy reasons. Jurors are not on trial. Jurors are there to make decisions. And so I don't, at least as of today's laws, that's not going to happen. That may change. And so the problem is
We got to
the
figure that
court
out,
system,
Donna.
we do have to figure it out. The court system is always behind when it comes to the advancements in technology, as are our laws, unfortunately. They just are.
Okay, let's get into some of the events of the week. So the defense is moving to get evidence excluded based upon, it looks like, violation of search and seizure stuff. So, and you can walk me through the specifics. But so the cops approached Luigi Mangione in Altoona, Pennsylvania, at a McDonald's. He has a backpack, among other things. Inside the backpack is a gun, a suppressor, a notebook / manifesto, ammunition. The cops do not have a warrant in this moment to go through his stuff, but they do go through his stuff. The prosecution and the police say that they're doing so incident to arrest, I believe, right? I think that's the legal terminology, something like that. And it's cataloging what he has on him. And I would presume the police can say, this is also for our own personal protection. We need to know what's in the backpack in case he has something that could hurt us, a bomb or something like that. The defense is saying you didn't have a warrant to go through all that. So everything. He had a to-do list that kind of served as a getaway plan. He had the manifesto. He had the gun. So the defense is saying all of that is fruit of the poisonous tree. It's illegal. You didn't have a warrant. You can't use any of that in court. So walk me through that. Do you think that has a real chance to get all that excluded?
So I don't think it has a real chance to get excluded. I think the defense is doing their job. This is something they should do. These are not frivolous motions. These are motions they should file. And when I read them on paper, prior to seeing some of the evidence that has come out in court, I thought maybe they would have more of a leg to stand on. Now that I've been watching this last week, I do think that the police actions were appropriate. They approach him. They ask him his name. He gives them a fake name. They have an absolute right to ask you your name. They've gotten a call about a suspicious person. He matches the description. He has the same bag and the jacket, and he walks up, the eyebrows, the whole thing. They walk up, they ask him his name, he gives them a fake name. Right away, that's a crime. So that's right, that's number one. So now they continue to question him. He answers some questions, not others, nothing really incriminating. At one point, he says, I think I'm going to remain silent. And this is after they give him his rights. And he doesn't really say much, but then he starts asking questions. So, number one, under the law, you have to unequivocally ask for a lawyer. So that's number one. He did not do that. Number two, even if you invoke Miranda, you can waive Miranda at any time. So if you then continue to initiate the conversation, that's a reinitiation under the law, and that's fair game. In terms of the backpack, to me, the first time they go in it, and as the officer's going through it, she is saying, I'm making sure there's not a bomb in here. Now remember, they're in a crowded McDonald's, and we're hearing this on the body camera as it's played in court. She's looking through the bag and saying, I want to make sure there's not a bomb. It's a crowded McDonald's. There's people there. There's employees there. And they are aware of what they believe this person has done on the streets of Manhattan. So they obviously have to take public safety into consideration. It is then that he's placed under arrest. And after he's placed under arrest, the bag is more fully searched and they find these items. And yes, I believe that is a search incident to arrest. I do not believe you need a warrant in that situation under the law. I think it's pretty clear. And in watching the way it went down procedurally and the way it went down chronologically, I think the sequence of it, I think the police are going to be okay. I think they answered questions credibly on the stand. And, as a defense attorney, I'm always looking at that with a more mindful eye, but I really do think they followed procedure.
Do you think even against probability in your estimation, it was granted the motion to dismiss all this evidence? So the gun's out, the manifesto's out, the to-do list is out, everything's out. Let's just presume for a moment the judge is sympathetic. He's like, that's all out. how fatal would that be to the case against Mangione?
It would be awful. I mean, what you have then is you have a video of a guy in a bulky coat on a street shooting someone in the back. I mean, there's no doubt that a murder took place. The question is then going to become, can they prove it was him? Now, what they do have is, and I will say, the New York Police Department did an amazing job piecing together all the video. I don't know if you've seen this, but they have, from the time that that shooting took place, they have him on camera prior, seeing that he was kind of laying in wait. Then they have him getting on a city bike. They have him going through a park. They have him throwing something in the garbage. I mean, they have traced his movements all the way to the bus station.
With images, right?
Correct.
With images of his face correlated
Correct.
to these movements.
Correct. He's in a taxi cab where it's the taxi video. And you see his face, and the mask is, I don't remember if that one, the mask is up or down, but his eyes, it's clear as day that that's him. I mean, it's like a HBO movie rather than a, grainy surveillance. It's a color photo. So I think that they would still have a case, but they would definitely not have the strength of the case that they have with all that evidence. They also have a statement that he makes in Pennsylvania, in the lockup in Pennsylvania. He talks about the fact that he had a 3D printed gun and a silencer. And he does tell the jail guards that in Pennsylvania. And that's another piece that they're trying to have thrown out. But I also think that statement is fair game.
Are they trying to have that thrown out under Miranda?
They are.
Okay. Let's go full circle, Donna. Now, this is something that I've learned. I don't know. You're the expert, not me. Like I said, here's the truth, Donna. Like, I grew up around lawyers. My dad was a lawyer. I'm a lawyer. But I'm not you. I haven't tried 1,000 cases. I haven't done high-profile cases. A lot of my friends today are lawyers. And I find that the conversations my friends and I have about cases, despite all the perhaps aspirational views of the law, meaning, oh, this element, this piece, it is not what you want it to believe that it is. It is not a mathematical equation. Reasonable doubt is not quantifiable. It's not what you think it should be. What it is, quite honestly, is not so different than what I do for a living, in that people are persuaded by emotion more than facts and logic. It's a simple fact of humanity. And people, in order for their emotions to attach to an outcome, need affirmative stories more than questions, negative stories, and doubt. So do you know what I mean? So, like, in other words, again, you're the expert, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. You go into a case and you're like, you, the defense, Donna, and the defense for Luigi Mangione. You go into a case and you think, well, all I have to do is create reasonable doubt. In order to create reasonable doubt, I just have to puncture holes in their affirmative story, their positive story. And if they don't prove it 100%, then I should win the case. But the should carries all the weight there, because those 12 people don't like I don't know. Human beings don't like I don't know. We don't like the concept of reasonable doubt. We don't even know what it is, to be honest. What we need is another story. We need another affirmative story to attach ourselves to, because we emotionally gravitate to stories. So it becomes the job of the defense to provide a story that the defense can tell themselves about this. So they don't even think about reasonable doubt. They just start articulating a new narrative, a new story that doesn't jive with the prosecution story. What is going to be the story for the defense of Luigi Mangione?
Yeah, I think that's a tough question. And I think you're right. And I think some cases call for that, but unfortunately, some cases you just don't have it. And the problem is, you never want to try to sell to a jury that the world is flat. Because if you do, they're not going to believe anything else that you tell them, especially if you do have good facts. So I always try to say, I look at the case and I say, okay, what questions do I think this jury is going to have? And I have to be able to answer those questions. And if I can't answer those questions, whether it's in a form of an argument, whether it's through the evidence that our witnesses put up, if I can't do that, we're going to lose. And so sometimes you have cases, and you never want to go into a case thinking you're going to lose, but you also have to be realistic about what the evidence shows, and you have to prepare a client in a situation where the evidence is extremely tough. And in a case like this, I think their only hope is finding the sympathetic jurors if all the evidence comes in. Because if all the evidence comes in, I just don't know how any reasonably minded person, and for the most part, unless you're talking about a rogue juror, I do believe that jurors try to do the right thing. I do, for the most part. I think they come in, I think they want to get it right. And, so I think in a case like this, there may not be a story.
It would be a real tough case to develop a story on, to your point.
Right,
It would be a really tough case.
It would be a BS story. That's the problem.
Well, look, maybe I'm more cynical than you. So right now they're trying to poke holes. They're playing the reasonable doubt thing. So let me exclude evidence. That's what they should do pre-trial. Let me exclude evidence.
Absolutely.
Let me just try to make this thing as not rock solid as I want it to be. But once we get to the trial, now the evidence is in. Now their story is, we know what the prosecution's story is. And it looks locked down. So I'm sitting there as defense going, okay, I've done my best to get rogue jurors. I've done my best to get, people who shouldn't be on this jury on the jury. Now what do I do? And I don't know. It's like, if I'm right, and maybe I'm not right, Donna, maybe I'm not right, but I wonder how you start painting a sympathetic picture of Luigi Mangione and what you start saying. And I wonder if you go with an insanity defense and I don't know when you have to make that claim, but like he was driven to this by broader cultural influences or a corrupt system or the healthcare system. He is actually the victim here. You understand? He's the victim of something bigger. Now you're talking about something that one of these jurors can attach themselves to excuse Mangione in some way. And I would even, this is insane, I know, but I mean, here's the most insane story. This is self-defense. Luigi Mangione is self-defense. He is at threat, and you are at threat under a system that is putting all of you as victims in this society. And he did what any reasonable person would do. Now, I know I just told stories that don't fit with what you're allowed to do in trial in some ways, but I do wonder if you're the defense, what you do with a one that's a loser on the evidence, but has some sympathy and support out there with the jury.
Well, and you're proving my point. I didn't get into the nitty gritty of the storytelling, but that's what jury nullification is, because you're basically asking a jury to do something that doesn't follow the law. You're basically putting all these other things out there saying right there. So that's what jury nullification is. So that's why I said I think that's their only hope. So I 100% agree with you that they would have to come in and they would have to say, here's a kid who came from a good family. He had, the best educations, Ivy League schools. He had a back injury. The back injury changed him. He ended up having surgery. He was on medication. He was, it's all these things that are not true affirmative legal defenses like self-defense, because they can't make a self-defense claim without being able to prove it, right, under the affirmative defense responses they would have to give. But could they get in front of a jury and tell that story? Yes, of course they could. And that is why I said jury nullification, because that's their only hope. And if you get one or two,
but explain that to the audience. So you make one of these, explain that to the audience. You make one of these essentially legally inappropriate arguments, right?
Yes.
You win, I guess, in some way, and then the verdict is nullified. Like, so they're going for a jury nullification in some way?
Well,
explain that to the audience.
They come out. Yeah, sure. So when you're trying a case, you're supposed to follow the rules of what that looks like, right? You're supposed to present defenses that are either affirmative or the state can't meet their burden. If you are getting up and basically saying, yeah, he may have done this. Let me give the listeners an example. The dad who murders the guy who raped his daughter, right? There's no justification for the rape unless it happens in he comes in and finds her being raped and it's a, heat of passion response. But if he goes and finds the guy 3 weeks later and murders him at his house, that dad's going to be charged with murder. Are there a lot of jurors that are going to convict the guy? Probably not. And not because it's a true legal defense, but the jury's going, I'm letting this guy go because he did the right thing, whether the law says so or not. So that's really what we're looking, that's what Mangione's lawyers are going to be looking to do. They're going to be looking to say, yeah, whether you think he did it isn't really the issue. He was justified. And, even though that's not a legal argument, they can make it. Now, the prosecutors will object. They will say that it's improper, but is that enough? Time's going to tell.
But what happens? So then what happens? So they make these improper arguments,
and if
but
the jury
it's
finds
affected
him
the jury.
Yeah. And if the jury finds him not guilty, they find him not guilty. You can't appeal a not guilty. So the court can admonish. Now, the state could ask for a mistrial, and the judge could say you've gone too far.
Yes.
And grant a mistrial, and then you're starting all over again. So that would really be the only remedy for the state if the defense goes off the rails and does a bunch of things that they're not supposed to do. So that's the remedy for the state. But if the jury goes out and finds him not guilty solely based on the fact that they thought he was justified in doing what he did, there's nothing the state can do.
Is there another? And there's also another path. Real quick, let's do this. They find him guilty, but then they give him a super light sentence. In New York, is that a judge sentence or jury sentence?
No, it's a judge sentence.
After the verdict.
Yeah, it's a judge sentence. And honestly, it's going to be a light sentence regardless, because the crimes that are left in the New York State court, the most serious is murder in the second degree, which is 15, I believe, to life, but you can get paroled at 25 years. So, the sentence in New York does not guarantee that he spends his life in prison if he were to be convicted. Now, there's the federal case, which
second degree. So, real quick, the charges right now are second degree. Do you have the charges off the top of your head? It's second degree, and what else?
There's second degree, and there's a variety of weapons charges. Now, the second degree murder, they had originally charged him with first degree, but they charged it under the terrorism statutes in the state of New York, claiming that it was an act of terror. Now, the judge threw it out because the terrorism statute, if you read it fully, the terrorism statute talks about how it has to be a crime against a group of people, and that this was a targeted hit against one person. Now, I was kind of surprised because I thought maybe that was the right decision, but the more I looked into it, I was kind of surprised that the state did not appeal the judge's decision, because I do think that there's an argument to be made that when you're going after the CEO of an industry, and based on the writings, it was clearly against an industry as a whole. But I think the judge was reading it as he would have had to be going after a group of people at the time the murder was committed. So it'll be interesting to see. But the state of New York did not appeal that decision to dismiss that count.
And second degree carries, you said 15 to life?
15 to life, but you're eligible for parole at 25 years.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's why the federal charges are important.
Presume. Right. So he can be tried in federal court. He will be tried. So how does that work with the feds? They watch it progress at the state level, and then they can wait a little while, and then they do what they're going to do at the federal level?
They've already charged him. They've already charged him federally, but they're waiting until the state case is over with. They are seeking capital punishment in the federal case. I think it's going to be very similar, to give the audience an example, very similar to Derek Chauvin and the George Floyd situation. Derek Chauvin was convicted in a state court, and then the feds ended up trying him after the fact. So I think it'll be similar to that.
Okay. By the way, last question. Tell me how federal works. It's still going to pull from a local jury pool. Would all the machinations we talked about and the importance of the jury apply just like it did in the state court to the federal court?
Absolutely correct.
Okay. What a fascinating conversation to get us ready here. We're having motions to dismiss evidence as we speak. We don't yet have a trial date. I presume early 2026?
I would say
mid-spring 2026?
Yeah, agree.
All right, for Luigi Mangione. Excellent. I hope we continue to talk. Donna Rotunno, thank you so much for spending time on Will Cain Country.
Anytime. Thanks, Will.
Okay. Really, really fascinating. That really helped me out a lot. and something to mull over there with the jury nullification thing and making quote-unquote inappropriate arguments to give the audience or the jury a story that they can gravitate to and what that does to potential verdicts. Really, really something to think about, and I think it's the way it's going to play out, because I think that's the real calculation here. It isn't reasonable doubt. The real calculation here is, how do I get certain people on the jury, and how can I play to them in doing what they want to do? All right, you can jump into the comment section that we'll issue. When we come back, Tinfoil Pat goes to Manhattan, and young people are afraid to use the phone on Will Cain Country.
It's Will Cain Country.
The story, as they want you to believe it, is that the Fox and Friends weekend co-host, was running around the Pentagon with his hair on fire yelling about kill them all, when in fact, we had a preset list for the rules of engagement, and we kept a JAG lawyer present during the decision-making process where the game time decision was not made by the Secretary of War, but rather Admiral Bradley. But that doesn't fit the war crimes narrative.
Get the podcast 5 days a week at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts. Every weekday, it's your go-to source for staying informed and entertained. The Fox News Primetime Highlights Podcast, offering a curated selection of the most impactful moments of the Ingram Angle, Jesse Waters Primetime, Hannity, and Gutfeld. Listen and follow now so you never miss a moment of the action-packed highlights from these must-watch Fox News Channel shows. Go to foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. America's listening to Fox News.
You never know who might be taking the quiz.
Hi, I'm Teresa Giudice.
I'm Clay Aiken.
I am Dre DeMatteo.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jill Whelan.
Hey, everybody. It's Billy Baldwin.
It's Patricia Heaton.
Hey, everyone. I'm Nicole Palizzi.
It's Candace Bushnell.
Hey, everyone. It's Henry Golding.
Hey, everybody's Kevin Nealon.
I'm Ted Lange, and it's time to take the quiz.
5 questions in less than 5 minutes every day. Listen and follow at thequiz.fox.
Tinfoil Pat goes to Manhattan. It is Will Cain Country, streaming live at the Will Cain Country YouTube channel, the Will Cain Facebook page. And you should jump into the comments on any of those platforms. Follow us on Spotify or Apple. Join the Willisha. There's a lot of you out there who contribute on a daily basis, and we appreciate you. Like Carmela Canale, who says, my concern is the judge. When all is said and done, what will the judge do in the case against Luigi Mangione? Let him go? We've been seeing way too much of going through the legal system and then very little accountability. I'll tell you, Carmela, I don't share that same level of concern right now in this case. My concern is over the jury. My concern is with my fellow American. My concern is with the people that sympathize with Luigi Mangione and get on that jury. I actually think that thing that I did with Donna Rotunno, which is really fascinating conversation, which is, let's assume you have a jury pool of 50 people, okay? Here, you guys can answer this in the comment section. Jump in here. Let's assume you have 50 people, all right? They're all sitting in a room. And you know, let's presume for a moment you're the prosecutor. I can't get any of these people that love Luigi Mangione and think he's a hero on this jury. And if you're the defense, you're thinking, I need to get those people on this jury. How many of the 50 are you actually looking for? 15? 10? What is the number? I don't know. Two-a-days and tinfoil. I don't know if AI, because AI is bad at this. We've all experienced how AI is actually not good at anything recent or current. Is there some kind of poll out there? Like how much support he has broadly in America? I'd love to know. Look that up for a moment, two-a-days, while I read you more from the Willisha. Suzanne Nico, also a frequent commenter, which we appreciate, said Luigi made a website where people can send him their picture and fan mail. The lawyers definitely need to check that database. Oh, interesting, yeah. He's almost like creating a website that's a clearinghouse for any potentially corrupted jurors. Here's the thing. This is why I was asking Donna this. You know, there's levels to this. There's, in the words of Stephen A. Smith, there are levels to this. There's the guy who will donate to Luigi. Then there's the guy that will go onto X and post in support of Luigi. What you're really trying to vet for is the person that does nothing on social media, doesn't talk about it, but just consumes it. With that algorithm conversation that we had, I found that like mind-blowingly fascinating. That's the people that I want to know. The ones that are quietly sympathetic to Mangione. 1 second, 2 at Ace. Ann Breitrick, another frequent commenter, says, I served on a domestic abuse case. We were asked if we were on social media and believed the Me Too movement. Great example. Requires testimony, requires admission, requires honesty. The thing I was trying to do with Donna, where I'm like, read me your first post on X regarding Mangione, would actually be evidence on what you consume on social media. And she said you can't do that right now. What do you have, 2 days?
So the latest poll I have is from almost exactly a year ago from The Economist and YouGov. Is that something that you would be interested in, or is that too old?
Sure, it's 12 months old, and I'm sure it's fluid.
Right.
But I would still be curious.
So 43% had a somewhat or very negative view of Mangione, while 21% had a somewhat or very positive view, and 37% were still unsure. Support was highest among 18 to 29-year-olds who identify as liberal.
Wow. Those are big numbers, man.
21% is a lot,
Like
dude.
you would presume. Even the 37% that's like, still want to feel this one out. Shot him in the back of the head. Like,
dude, I don't get it.
That's actually
murder.
terrifying.
It's murder.
That's half.
You're upset
That's
about
half. What you just added
Palestine?
up was half. Yeah, right. I that would terrify me as a prosecutor. And and by the way, my presumption is in the last 12 months, that hasn't gotten worse for Mangione. You know what I mean?
No,
I don't
right.
think those
The
numbers
further
would
away
have
it
moved.
gets.
I don't think those numbers. Yeah. I think you're going to get more sympathy or whatever. I don't even know what the emotion is. Is it sympathy or is it lionization? Like, what is it happening? Like, what is it with Mangione?
Attractiveness?
All right. Well, it plays a role. It definitely plays a role. Pretty privilege, even in the courtroom.
For murder.
Okay. Let's do this. Let's do final takes with the most exciting man in broadcasting, who is going to bring us now the story of what it is to be afraid to talk on the phone. Final takes, Dan.
Final takes.
With the most exciting man in broadcasting, tinfoil Pat.
Fantastic. I didn't realize we're doing final takes. So
get ready.
Anyway, Gen Z, I don't have the article. Gen Z has decided that they are going to be afraid of the telephone.
I'm cool to hang out.
They are experiencing telephobia, and they do not talk to people on the telephone.
Tell me more.
So it's a great question. And so according to The Atlantic,
I can literally hear you scrambling. I can literally hear you using your phone. I can hear you scrambling to be prepared to do the show that we do every day. And you are the producer that comes up with topics for us. And
I did not come up with this one.
You have recapped it.
This is not mine.
Okay, you didn't come up with this one. Yes, you did. You didn't come up with this one. I can hear the panicked scrolling. Okay, I've got it right here. Where is it? Oh, shit, that's not it. Where is it? Oh, God, here's the details of the story.
Oh,
it's impacting their jobs. That's the problem. Is they don't like small talk.
They don't want to talk on the phone. They're afraid to talk on the phone. They're afraid to get phone calls. They're afraid to call people.
They want to text.
Yeah.
They want a message.
And if you know the job market and at all, you have to talk on the phone.
Yeah. What about employers calling? Potential employers.
They screen them. They screen their boss and text back. What's up?
I screened my first potential boss ever back in the day. Dan, he called to offer me a job, and I screened him by accident.
By accident, though.
Well, I didn't pick it up because I didn't know the number.
Yeah, that's different.
Okay,
that's different. Afraid to talk on the phone. Yeah. Do you think that's a time thing? Like they just see it as time consuming? Like I'm not going to give the next 5 minutes to this conversation?
I don't think so.
That it's you don't think so?
Because
it's
in the moment. You have to think about what you're doing. With text, you could edit it. You could, go back. They're just awkward, I think. I think it's just awkwardness.
Oh, I don't think there's I don't agree with that because I don't think there's a lot of contemplation and forethought going into the texts. I think that they're really quick to fire on a text.
It's just
look,
it's a type of anxiety. You don't like talking to people is a different thing than like you have to look them in the eye, or I guess you don't look them in the eye on the phone, but it's a different way to communicate, and it's really hard. Like I don't make eye contact. Like right now, I'm not even looking at a point on a screen. You know what I mean?
So when we meet you for the first time this weekend, will you look me in the eye?
Like what about when you handshake?
No.
You have to.
It's gonna be very hard for me. I don't even look at my wife in the eye.
Are you gonna hug Will?
You're like
probably
a Gen Z millennial. You're like a Gen Z millennial. Like so many of your characteristics are Gen Z, but yet you're a millennial.
I'm an elder millennial. Yeah, we're the OGs.
And has 7 children.
And neuroticism.
Do you look your kids in the eye?
So,
I try to. It's how you intimidate them.
So,
show them who's boss.
This is the exact opposite of how I feel about communication. Generally, I love human communication, and I love it with all its complexities. And if you pay attention, like it is the source of a lot of content for me, like casually, conversationally, even professionally, meaning I like to analyze it. I think it tells a lot about people. What I mean is, okay, one of the things that I have not liked first about the digital age is reducing everything into text because so much context is lost in text. Body language, voice tone, everything. All of it's lost, right? And I'm not particularly good at that. I'll be honest with you. Like, I've never thought I'm a great tweeter. I don't consider myself a great writer. I wouldn't put a lot of faith that my texts always come across the way that I want them to.
I think you're angry
because
yeah, you sound
on my
angry
text.
A lot. Yeah,
they're just very short.
Do I?
It's like
they're short.
Yeah, you're very boomer-esque in some ways. Also, like my wife was just going through this. She gave somebody a heart for a response, and it's like, well, that okay? And then if you give the thumbs up, that's passive aggressive. So you can't just give the thumbs up. The heart is essentially the thumbs up now. So you have to really think about the context
I didn't know any of this.
what you're. No. Yeah.
I don't like or appreciate any of that. And by the way, I don't think I'm boomer-esque. Like, I actually think the young generation is really clipped in texting. Like, they're really short and brief. I mean, when I text with my boys, I'm lucky to get back okay. Have you ever seen some of those memes of a parent will text a kid, I just want you to know I'm really proud of you and watching you today do what you did, and it just made me proud, and you get back from your son, okay.
Just or the thumbs up.
You ever get just K? Just K?
Us millennials are traumatized by just K.
K.
Yeah, very very
passive. That's when you know when you're dating someone like your girlfriend says K. It's like I'm in deep doo-doo.
Well, so I just love all of it, man. Like, I love the nonverbal. I love the tone and the analysis and all of that because I guess I feel like that is a window into. I do think people communicate. Like Ernest Hemingway was famous about this in his writing. Like, whatever the dialogue was in, for example, The Sun Also Rises, it's not what was actually. He understood that human communication is not. It's subtextual. So whatever you say isn't completely honest about what it is you're saying. And you get more of a window into the honesty with their nonverbal communication, with their body language and with their tone. And so it's all very complex, this thing that is the mess of humanity and communication. And I think we all do that now that we've moved into the video age. Then you go to video and you're like, well, okay, now I get more. But I think for some people, who do what I do, video for me over time has made me skeptical of them. Like, they're playing to the camera. It's not another human being. So it's not like A to B. It's A to B, but the audience is really C. Mm-hmm. And so now it's a projection, right? And one could say the same thing about television because it is for the mass of television. I'd like to think that's not what I do, but it is. It's like now you're not being honest because it's a performance. It's a thing for C. It's not actually an exchange between A and B. And, so the point is, I don't love the way we communicate. The best is two people talking, man, or three people or four people. It's backyard barbecue style conversation. That's the best. It's engaging. Your endorphins fire, and like you're doing interesting things in the communication. And I'm on to, like, I talk to my sons about this all the time. Like, Patrick, like, you have to make eye contact. You have to. And like, I talk about this a lot because whether or not you want to believe it or not, you are communicating to other people. It may not be what you intend. It may not be what you want, but you got to step outside yourself and look at them. And so, like, one of my sons, I'm like, hey, man, like, you didn't look at him and you didn't speak up when you responded. So how is he reading that? He's reading that, quite honestly, and I'm going to speak because we're on digital here, that you're a dick, that you're arrogant, that you're too good for him. And it could be driven out of your own insecurity. It most probably is driven out of your own insecurity. But what does that matter? It doesn't matter what you're feeling. You've just created that dynamic based upon the selfishness of how you're feeling. You're feeling insecure. Cool. Now you've told the entire world that you're too good to hang. You're too good to talk. I didn't mean that. Doesn't matter now, does it? Because that's who you are to them, right? So you've got to do your best to communicate the authenticity of what you feel, unless you're a liar, and you can get really good at that, and now you're playing chess with your communication style and all that. But the point is, I like all this. Yeah, I mean, this is what the CIA learns how to do. Yeah. When are people lying? You know, like... this is what Bill O'Reilly used to do when he had body language experts on the O'Reilly factor, right? It was all based upon all these complexities of human communication. And now we've got a generation that doesn't even want to reveal, forget eye contact, forget like nonverbal communication.
Body language.
They want to excise tone. Well, you don't read body language over the phone, but now you're taking tone out, right? You're taking the conversational element out. Now it's just a text exchange. It's not, it's look, part of me is like, it's really bad. The other part is, well, society's moving in the direction of the thing that you're not the best at. So I don't love that.
Well, when I was dating even a few years ago, I made it a huge factor to kind of like, body language, eye contact. And after a first date, I would call them instead of text them because I felt that was more authentic and getting, human connection and been like, hey, what's up? Do you want to hang out again on a text? I would call them, and it was very important, and it worked. I mean, I think it worked, but they thought it was weird. They're like, why are you calling me? Not that I was going out with Gen Z.
I don't like this. Telephobia. Well, this is a perfect transition into Tinfoil Pat Goes to Manhattan. We are, this week, going to New York City, a good chunk of the Will Cain show and Will Cain country. I'm going to be from New York for a couple of days this week. We're going to have a little get-together for Christmas. And as part of this, for the first time in, what, Patrick? 2 years? Over 2 years?
It's been 3 years.
Patrick is going to be in
very long years.
3 years. See,
That's
like,
insane.
I think you're being sarcastic. Like, I have a little bit of evidence beyond the words, but not a lot. I have some. The tone,
this is on you now,
the
Will,
history,
too.
the experience.
This is on you.
Huh?
This is on you at this point, too. Not never meeting him. You should have gone down to Florida at this point and met this guy.
You have a friend here.
Oh, really? I should have gone to Florida.
Made sure he's
made a
real.
whole thing of it.
Yeah, what if Patrick's just AI?
Yeah.
What if he's not even real?
I have no evidence that he's not.
Right. We've never met Patrick in person, but he is flying to New York to meet us all. And by the way, I was on the call this morning for the Will Cain show, our planning call, and they all said how much they're looking forward to meeting Patrick. It was unanimous. They were all saying, I can't wait to meet Patrick. And
He's
so
an enigma.
That'll help his eye contact. That pressure will really help his eye contact.
Entire control room.
When you
He walks in, they look back
yeah,
at him.
when you walk in, Patrick, I just want you to know all eyes are going to be on you. When you walk in, everybody's going to be staring at you, thinking about you, analyzing you, and judging you. How does that make you feel?
He's not going to come. He's not going to come. Stop.
That's fine.
He's not going to get on the plane.
My only concern is my morning schedule is off a little bit. So, but other than that, I think we'll be okay.
Well, how concerned are you the fact that you probably either have to go over the Queensboro Bridge, the Triborough Bridge, or the Midtown Tunnel to get? Is it the Midtown Tunnel, Dan, on the east side? Lincoln's on the west. Midtown's on the what?
Yes.
There is a
and then
what is the tunnel
Lincoln's on the left.
On the east side?
I'm not driving.
You got to go through to get.
So
being a passenger is fine.
Yeah, I'll be okay.
I don't know that you will. They're pretty intense bridges, and they're very narrow at points. And there's a lot of them.
And Patrick is flying into JFK. He's flying to JFK, not LaGuardia. And he said to us this morning, well, I saw it was only a couple miles further out than LaGuardia. And we're like, dude, those couple miles could add 45 minutes to your commute into New York.
It's like 60 miles where you live.
Like, I think from LaGuardia to Manhattan is 4 to 5 miles. It will take an hour, most likely, depending on what time we get in.
Easy.
To get into the city. And you've never been to New York, right, Pat?
Not the city, no.
That's wild to me.
What does that mean? You once took a trip to Staten Island?
I went to Poughkeepsie. I went to...
That's not even close.
I'm saying I've been to New York. I just haven't been to the city. I've been within, 10 miles of the city, driving through it, or driving through New York.
Poughkeepsie's not 10 miles.
No. You still have to drive.
How are you going to be with... You're staying...
95.
You're staying in Midtown. How are you going to be with all the high-rises in Midtown?
That's going to be problematic. I don't know.
Did you ask for a lower floor?
I should have done that, but I don't think I did. I'm just going to be I'm trying to. I did a lot of mind exercises in the shower over the last week. Trying to change my state of being, really. So.
What's your anxiety level? 1 to 10. 10 being nuclear.
Well, I've been trying to pass it off and not think about it at all.
But
probably right now, I'm feeling a 7 now that we're bringing it all up to the surface here. Maybe an 8.
Reminds me of Home Alone 2. He's going to be Macaulay Culkin walking around the city. Maybe meet Donald Trump, go to FAO Schwartz.
Whole pizza just for me.
Go into Central Park at night for some godforsaken reason.
That's not going to happen.
Are you going to walk around the city? Are you going to go to Central Park or Times Square?
I don't think so. Probably just going to hang in the hotel room.
Times Square is right down the street.
Is it?
Right down the street. You can walk into Times Square. Yeah. Yeah. Are you going to go to the Statue of Liberty? Are you going to go to Ellis Island? You going to go to Wall Street? You going to do any sightseeing?
None of that. What am I going to have time to do that? We got work. We got work to do. It's a work trip.
We'll give you time. We'll give you time.
We'll just make sure nothing gets done.
We'll make it work if you
video
it all.
I think you understand what I do. So clips don't get clipped, and
he has to work his 18 hours. Will he has to work his full double day?
I'm already dreading it. Having to get off at 3. I only have an hour and a half left to work.
Are you going to self-medicate in any way? Are you going to, I don't know.
I'm too tired.
What are you, a bourbon guy?
Bourbon and vodka, yeah. But I'm too tired. I can't do it right now. I got to stay clear-headed.
Are you going to check out early? Will you leave the party and go back to your hotel room?
No, I'll be there. I'll be well rested by then. We'll be good. We'll be good to go.
Will you video yourself? Will you do a vlog for us? Tinfoil goes to Manhattan?
Yeah, why not?
Maybe you're one of those guys that, when it's just you and your phone, who knows? You're like Dave Portnoy. Once it becomes just you and the phone, you got a lot to say.
Just not too much to say. I don't know.
We should send him to dive bars, a dive bar.
Well, look out, Pete Carroll.
Dan, I think this is all enough. Flying on an airplane, getting in a cab or an Uber, driving over bridges or through tunnels, coming into Midtown, fighting traffic, walking amongst the high-rises, checking into a hotel, walking to be social with people at work, meeting strangers who all are looking at you. I don't think we need a trip to the Statue of Liberty. I think all of this is enough, and it's enough content. I think maybe one of these shows should be all dedicated to this. Well, in the next couple of days, all dedicated of Tinfoil Goes to New York.
And we have to get it all in on this trip because he will never come back after this one, I promise you.
Probably not. I don't know. We'll see.
Good luck.
Or I'll just become king of New York.
Okay.
Don't forget, I don't live in the city, so if you need me, I'm too far away.
All right.
And I won't be in Midtown.
No, you're not. No, I'll just be all alone. I just hope none of those murderers that got released last week are going to be after me.
Very worried about these murderers being released.
He is.
Yeah,
he's
it's
worried
not
about the
good timing, by
murderers.
the way.
I think he's worried about the drugs.
Yeah.
He's worried about MS-13, the gangs.
I'm just glad I'm not
he's
a
worried
CEO.
about a lot. Yeah, Luigi Mangione. It's a short walk from your hotel to Fox News. It's a very, very short walk, so you should be all right. Can't wait to see you go through security for the first time.
Nearby at Chick-fil-A there, so yeah, it's all good. We'll be okay.
You're like Michael Scott in The Office. Like you're gonna go to Times Square. We've got it all. Sbarro's, Chick-fil-A. You got it all right there. Corner of the world. All right. Can't wait. We'll all be in New York starting tonight, tomorrow. Don't miss it. Come hang out with us on Will Cain Country. We'll see you next time.